Have you ever woken up at 2 a.m., opened your eyes to the ceiling, and couldn't fall back asleep? Have you ever felt the night drag on endlessly? Not because you were daydreaming, but because sleep just wouldn't come? Many people after the age of 60 begin to feel noticeable changes in their sleep. Restless nights are no longer rare, but become a familiar cycle, so much so that people sometimes think it's normal to sleep less when you're old. However, insomnia shouldn't be an inevitable part of aging. Deep sleep can return if we understand why we're losing it. Why do older adults often suffer from insomnia? Sleep is a vital biological function, but with age, the body gradually changes, leading to a decline in sleep quality. The causes can be grouped into four main categories. 1. Physiological changes due to aging. When people enter the threshold of old age, sleep, once a simple part of life, becomes a silent but persistent challenge. Gone are the uninterrupted nights of youth. Older adults often face restless nights, unexplained awakenings, and mornings when they wake before the sun rises. This isn't random insomnia, but the result of subtle physiological changes over the years. The body no longer functions as it once did. The arousal threshold becomes lower. A slight sound outside the window, a light peeking through the curtain, or even a gentle breeze is enough to disrupt sleep. The surrounding environment becomes more sensitive than ever, and older adults become more easily disturbed, waking easily and struggling to return to deep sleep. At the same time, melatonin, the natural hormone that helps regulate the body's biological clock, gradually declines. A melatonin deficiency causes the internal biological clock to go out of sync. Seniors often feel sleepy early in the evening, but wake up very early, before they've had enough rest. Their sleep cycle shortens, lacks depth, and leads to fatigue, sluggishness during the day, irritability, or difficulty concentrating. This disruption in biological rhythm isn't just a sleep issue. It has broader implications for mental and overall health. Memory decline, increased stress, and even impacts on heart health and blood pressure. Seniors, already coping with many physical changes, must now bear the invisible burden of incomplete sleep. 2. Physical illnesses affecting sleep. As people reach their twilight years, their bodies are no longer as healthy as before. Each night, instead of enjoying deep, peaceful sleep, many face a quiet battle with their own bodies. Some nights, in the stillness, joint pain creeps in. It's not intense pain, but it's persistent. It comes from worn-out knees, a once sturdy back now bent, and shoulders once strong for the family now weary. These aches are constant and tend to surface more at night, precisely when the body should be resting. That's why many seniors wake in the night, turning from side to side, trying to find a position with less pain just to catch some sleep. It's not just joints. Other illnesses quietly steal away restful sleep. Prostate enlargement in men or diabetes can force them to get up multiple times a night to urinate. Each awakening tears them from sleep, leaving the mind more drained. And once they lie back down, it's hard to fall asleep like before. Some even experience nighttime shortness of breath, not just a simple lack of air, but a sensation of suffocation, like someone pressing on their chest. This may stem from more serious issues like heart failure, asthma, or chronic pneumonia. When breathing becomes short, shallow, and irregular, sleep is disturbed not only by discomfort, but by a quiet worry. Will I be able to breathe normally again? Another silent but common disorder, sleep apnea. It often occurs in overweight individuals, disrupting breathing during sleep without the person even realizing it. Even if the sleep duration is long, it's not deep. They often wake up feeling tired, with headaches, or irritated without knowing why. It's because their breathing was repeatedly interrupted at night and the body didn't get the recovery it needed. 3. Psychological and emotional impacts. Old age is not just about gray hair, slower steps, or fading eyesight. It's also the quiet journey of layered emotions, rarely noticed by others. When work ends, when meetings, tasks, and social responsibilities become things of the past, many people suddenly feel empty, with no roles to worry about, no place to feel important. The spirit gradually falls into a cold silence. Loss doesn't only come from loved ones passing. It also comes from losing the familiar connection to life. Loneliness quietly creeps into every meal without laughter, every evening without conversation, every long, sleepless night. Over time, the mind grows weary. Insomnia isn't just the inability to sleep. It's nights spent tossing and turning with countless thoughts, unanswered questions. Many live with silent worries, afraid of sudden illness, afraid of becoming a burden to their children, afraid that one day they won't be sharp enough to care for themselves. No one says it aloud, but exists in every glance, every sigh. These are invisible fears, hard to name, hard to share, that keep the mind in a constant state of tension while others think everything is normal. And so, mental health gradually weakens with time. When emotions are suppressed, when the mind is always on guard and anxious, the body begins to respond. Insomnia, rapid heartbeat, poor appetite, declining memory, all are internal warning signs, not merely symptoms of aging. What's even more concerning is that older adults rarely speak of these things. They endure silently for fear of being a burden, because they think they're used to it, or because they don't want their children to worry. But the more they stay silent, the more these inner wounds quietly spread. 4. Side effects of medication. In their twilight years, many people begin living with chronic illnesses such as high blood pressure, heart disease, neurological disorders, or insomnia. To maintain health, regular use of medication is almost inevitable. However, few expect that these very drugs, meant to stabilize the body, could be the silent cause of disturbances, particularly in sleep and daytime alertness. It's not uncommon that after a period of taking medication for blood pressure or sleeping aids, patients begin experiencing prolonged insomnia, shallow sleep, or waking up in the middle of the night. During the day, they may feel lethargic, tired, mentally foggy as if covered in mist, easily confused, mixing up events, or even forgetting important matters. Many think it's a normal sign of aging, but in reality, it may be the result of medication side effects. Especially, the group of benzodiazepine sleeping pills, once widely prescribed in past years, have now been warned against by many experts. These medications not only induce drowsiness, but also carry a risk of dependency, gradually depriving users of their natural ability to regulate sleep. The longer the use, the higher the required dose, yet sleep quality remains unimproved. Moreover, the drugs affect cognitive functions, causing seniors to experience faster memory decline, temporal and spatial confusion, and unwarranted disorientation in daily life. What's concerning is that many elderly individuals are not clearly informed about these side effects, or they trust their medications so much that they don't suspect them as the cause. They quietly endure, trying to adapt to the prolonged fatigue without knowing there could be a better solution. So, how can the elderly regain deep and natural sleep? 1. Changing habits, a gentle yet sustainable start. Some things may seem small and simple, but hold quiet power to transform the rhythm and health of elderly life. In the twilight years, the body is no longer as agile. Sleep becomes fragmented, joints begin to ache dully, and the spirit can easily fall into states of quietness and loneliness. These changes don't come all at once, but accumulate gradually, making each passing day feel heavier. In such circumstances, many believe that only something grand and drastic can shift the tide. But that's not true. Miracles often begin with very small changes, gentle as a ray of morning sunlight, simple as a few steps around the garden, or brief as a sufficient afternoon nap. Getting morning sunlight for about 15 to 20 minutes each day is an example. The soft early sun not only warms the skin, but also helps the body absorb natural vitamin D and recalibrate the internal biological clock, which aging and life disruptions may have thrown off without notice. It not only improves nighttime sleep, but also refreshes and uplifts the spirit throughout the day. Accompanying this should be light physical activity, like leisurely walks around the house. A few gentle therapeutic exercises or a yoga session tailored for the elderly. There's no need to break a sweat or follow complex routines. Just being consistent every morning or evening will gradually bring noticeable changes. Joints will feel less stiff, the body less fatigued, and the spirit will feel freed from heaviness. And one more important yet often overlooked factor, the afternoon nap. As people age, nighttime sleep tends to be light, leading many to compensate with daytime naps. But napping too long, over 30 minutes, can leave the body sluggish and the mind groggy upon waking. More importantly, it makes falling asleep at night more difficult. Thus, a moderate nap of about 20 to 30 minutes is just right to recharge without disrupting the body's internal clock. These practices, morning sun exposure, light exercise, regular naps, may seem minor, but when consistently applied each day, they become a solid foundation, helping the elderly regain a stable, gentle, and healthier daily rhythm. There's no need for anything grand. Just start with simple things done correctly and consistently, and it's enough to transform an entire life journey. 2. Creating favorable conditions for sleep. One often overlooked fact is that the older one gets, the more fragile sleep becomes. In the past, lying down meant sleeping straight through the night. But now, waking up in the middle of the night and tossing and turning until morning becomes common. Eyes closed, yet the mind restless. Each morning begins with fatigue and mental haze. Just a few small changes in daily habits and living spaces can help the elderly rediscover deep and peaceful sleep. First, start with the bedroom. An ideal sleeping space for the elderly doesn't need to be luxurious, but must be quiet, airy, and gently dim. A touch of soft lighting can help the mind relax, making it easier to fall asleep. Light noises like TV sounds, ringing phones, or even a humming air conditioner can disrupt sleep. Therefore, the bedroom should be well soundproofed, or if possible, all electronic devices should be turned off before sleep. A common mistake many people make is eating too heavily at dinner or consuming tea or coffee in the evening. Though familiar, these caffeinated drinks are silent sleep thieves. They increase heart rate and alertness, preventing the body from relaxing. Dinner should be light, easy to digest, and ideally finished before 6 p.m. Lastly, the bedroom should not be a place for work, TV, or arguments and worries. It should solely be a place of rest, a space to relax both body and mind. When the body becomes accustomed to associating the bedroom with rest, sleep will come more naturally as a reflex. 3. Preparing for sleep as a habit. As we age, sleep gradually becomes a luxury. Many people experience long, restless nights, tossing and turning without falling asleep, or waking up in the middle of the night after just a short rest. This not only makes the body tired, but also affects mental health and long-term well-being. However, with the right preparation, sleep can become easier. Forming a pre-sleep habit is not just about following fixed steps, but also a way to signal to the body, it's time to rest now. A simple yet effective practice is taking a warm shower in the evening. Warm water flowing over the body helps relax the muscles, improves blood circulation, and eases the mind. It feels like washing away the fatigue of the whole day, making one ready for a peaceful night. After the shower, find a quiet space and allow the mind to slow down. A soft, instrumental piece of music can soothe the internal noise. Or, if preferred, a few pages from a paperback book, the kind familiar to our generation, can help the mind drift away from daily worries. The important thing is to avoid screens like phones or TVs, as the blue light from these devices tends to keep the brain awake rather than sleepy. And the most important thing, when your eyelids start to feel heavy, that's the time to return to bed. The body needs to be respected and listened to, not forced. Sleep doesn't come through coercion, but through thoughtful preparation. By turning small actions like showering, listening to music, and reading into a nightly ritual, older adults can rediscover the calm that sleep brings. A deep, natural, and restorative sleep. 4. When to use medication. Some nights, the clock ticks silently, and time seems to stretch endlessly. Eyes remain open, the mind spinning with countless unnamed thoughts. It's well past midnight, then 2 a.m., 3 a.m., yet sleep still won't come. For young people, a few such nights may not be a big deal. But for those over 60, prolonged insomnia is no small matter. It quietly erodes health. During the day, the body feels exhausted, the mind foggy, memory declines. Mood becomes irritable, spirit drained, and nothing feels interesting anymore. Insomnia leads to a chain of other disorders. Elevated blood pressure, rapid heartbeat, blood sugar fluctuations, and in some cases, depression. Insomnia is not merely a lack of sleep. It's a warning sign that the body is in distress. That is when one must seriously consider seeking medical help. Don't suffer in silence. And don't self-medicate based on hearsay. The first step is to see a doctor to clearly identify the cause. Insomnia isn't always a disease. Sometimes it's just a symptom of another issue, such as anxiety disorder, organ dysfunction, or even a side effect of current medications. Once the cause is determined, if the doctor prescribes medication, it's crucial to follow instructions strictly. Sleeping pills are not a universal solution and should never be used without guidance. Some older medications can cause confusion in the elderly, prolonged drowsiness during the day, or affect memory and alertness. Today, medicine offers better options. For example, zolpidem, a new generation drug, is considered to cause fewer side effects. Zolpidem helps users fall asleep more easily without leaving them tired or groggy the next morning. Notably, it has minimal impact on memory, a very important factor for older adults. But even with these modern medications, the usage principle remains unchanged. Only use when truly necessary, and always under a doctor's supervision. Sleep, though important, should not be bought at the cost of long-term health. Insomnia is not something to just accept as part of aging. It's a symptom that deserves attention, care, and adjustment. With a few small changes, some patience, and the right understanding, restful sleep can return, gently like a familiar melody, allowing the body and mind to truly rest.